Hey guys, so today we have a special guest. I've got a shaving friend out there, and he has loaned me his Duke 3 in Best Badger, a Simpson brush made in Great Britain. The Duke. It's a small handle. It's not a tall brush either. Simpson calls their not the Best Badger, but usually for most other makers, if it says Best Badger, that usually means kind of a low quality Badger. In case you're new to the whole Badger thing, the word best is not a real adjective. It's a proper noun of the quality. Words like best, fine, finest, super, silver tip, Manchurian, these kinds of words have been created by the market or the companies to be able to differentiate their Badger knots. And just because it says finest doesn't mean they're bragging about it. It's because that's the certain name they're giving to that grade of hair. Unfortunately, one company's best might be very different than another company's best, and so you can't compare them across companies. Anyway, so I'm really glad to have this guy, be able to try him out. As you can see, I've got big hands compared to this little knot. He's kind of 2 fingers wide, but I'm going to give him a little soak. He's already been soaking for a few minutes, and we'll introduce the other gear. Just like lately, I've been using my WR2 from Wolfman, an 85 gap, and R4L, which means Responders for Life, from Stirling. It's a benefit soap that they did, and it smells just like Tom Ford's gray Vetiver. I'm a big fan of that. 221 grams was the weight right before today's shave, I believe. And so it may be dropping 1 gram per use. Not bad. Let us see what we get today in terms of the shave. I'm sure it will be great. In the razor, let's try a new blade for me in it, the 7 o'clock Super Platinum. And if the interior envelope on this is to be believed, it looks like I've used it about 7 times. But you can look in the description of the video for the most accurate details in case these dots are incorrect. One nice thing about they do put tiny wax dots on here, but they're small, unlike some of the other blade manufacturers. So we will there's the top cap for the WR2. Those 4 posts serve to keep that blade in perfect alignment. There we go. The shave from yesterday was with a Gillette Platinum. Amazing razor blade in this razor for my skin. The best one so far. And it had been used like 15 times. Okay, a little water on my face. Well, I do not have too much stubble right now. Less than 24 hours between shaves. I know I've got a busy day tomorrow. A little town festival going on downtown. Gonna go check it out with my kids. And so I'm probably not gonna be able to shave like I usually do in the morning. Got a wet face now, hard water at this location. Soap is ready. So let's try this little guy out. Shake most of the water out. And let's do a 20-second load. And when the 0 rolls around, there we go. The awesome, generous dude who sent me this, 10 seconds now, said that it's I'll probably enjoy the knot. It's not the softest in the world, but it also doesn't have the most backbone, and so it should be very enjoyable and interesting and all that. I'm really glad to try it because Simpson is a big name in the brush making world of wet shaving. I have heard a couple of bad things about their customer service, like just kind of leaving people in the lurch when their brushes would fall apart. But then I've heard other people say really good things about them. I do know, and somebody else has said if they're under like $100, then they're kind of overpriced and not worth it. And then even the ones that are worth more than that, or being charged more than that, or there are just so much better, cheaper knots out there that are available. So there's some different opinions going around about Simpson. Now, since this is being loaned to me and this is in such good condition, I'm going to try this. The gold thing is a decal. I'm going to try to keep my fingers off of that so that I don't accidentally scratch at it or anything like that. Well, I tell you what, once you've been bowl lathering for a while, you can kind of get a feel for the brush when you start with this process right here. Let me tilt you down a little bit because you don't need to look at my forehead as much as see the lather. You start to feel the brush as I move it across these bumps. You feel what kind of resistance it gives when you press in and make it splay. And right now it seems like the backbone is going to be in a really nice place. Just kind of seems maybe medium. And the benefactor said that the brush knot was soft, but not scritchy, but not too soft. Well, it has certainly, brought up a nice lather so far. It is very short, like we noted already, and so that means my fingers are going to get messy. And I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more wrist action here to mix it with it. But I'm definitely going to use this brush for a few days and give it a good run. We'll just use this as a little pre-shave. Now, with a 20-second load in the past, like 2.5 teaspoons was kind of needed. I'm going to shortcut everything. Go ahead and put 2 teaspoons in it right now. Now, you see the brush handle. It has this little double ridge right here. I'll bet that's going to help me keep grip when this thing gets slippery, because in fact it is very slippery when soapy. Pure Badger, I believe, is the lowest of the grades of Badger, and then Best Badger is the next step up, and then different companies treat it in different ways. Some have a super grade of Badger, some just skip right to the 2-band or finest Badger, and then after that you get a little bit softer with the silver tip Badger. Well, it's making pretty short work of this lather, so that's pretty cool. Let's see how it kind of behaves here. Look at that stretch. Look at that peak as it's falling. That's pretty good. Good sign of a nice elastic, wet lather. That's where I like mine. If you don't like yours that way, then maybe don't add as much water. All right, well, we just try this guy out? It's a great looking lather. Not very much stubble to shave off, but sometimes that makes it more difficult to get a good shave. I'll get my face wet. Okay, let's see how this Simpson feels. Now he's widened out quite a bit with all this lather in him. A little on the scrubby side. Splays pretty easily. I do feel, you see my cheek move as I go up and down. That's because it does have kind of medium backbone. It is on the scrubby side, you can feel that. And I definitely wouldn't call it, resembling anybody else's silver tip. But it's definitely, like the loaner said, kind benefactor. It's not scratchy at all. If I had a rough shave where maybe I had some tender areas, then I would not really want to scrub at them too much with this brush, because of the scrubbiness of it, it might exacerbate that, give it a little bit extra razor burn or brush burn. And there we go. All right, let's try this. 7 o'clock black. Yeah, 7 o'clock super platinum, which is the black. This razor has done, the blade has done me very well in other razors. If you have trouble with your jawline, gain some weight like me, put on some extra pounds. That'll just curve your jaw nice and smooth, make it real easy to shave. Well, this lather's right on the money. Nice and slick, but it's protecting me well. I'm getting a nice glide on the razor. I do feel the blade edge, but again, as so often is the case with this razor, it's just so controlled, so held so firm that as it moves across my skin, this is not a bother. This is another winner blade for me. Maybe not as good as the platinum, but still terrific blade. All right, second pass. So yeah, this little brush likes to hold lather. Looks like he doesn't have a problem with that at all. It's so funny. See, this is a tool, this brush. His abilities are all kind of relative metrics. You know, how scratchy he is or isn't, how scrubby he is or isn't, how soft, how much backbone there is or isn't. And so for a person to ask for recommendations on a good brush, you have to know the answer to those questions before you can make any kind of intelligent recommendation. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Duke 3, was it $100? I can't remember, 150? I don't think 150, but I mean, Simpson's brushes are expensive. Maybe just 100, maybe 80. I'm afraid I'm drawing a blank. But if let's say this was a $120 brush, which I think is within the realm of reality, of feasibility. If I was expecting comfort, if that was my goal as a shaver, I was expecting luxury, and I were to get this brush, I would be very disappointed because it's got that scrubby nature to it. And so it would just totally not be what I was looking for. In fact, a $25 Virginia chain knot would fit me better than this brush. But if you realize that what you're going to get is some nice scrub with a, I think I like the backbone. The backbone might be just a little bit more than I like, but it's really very nice. So I'm very happy with the backbone. And it definitely looks bigger in the pictures. The handle is kind of on the small side, but a lot of the good manufacturers will give you the details in the spec sheet, you know, and so you can look it up on your ruler and see how tall it is and have a better idea. And I definitely encourage you to do that before buying, you know, brushes and razor handles and things like that. Well, that's a terrific, comfortable, smooth second pass with this razor and blade. Excellent matchup. Right, third pass. I do love the way this brush holds the lather. It's easy to get it to hold enough lather to take care of the shave. I'm not having to go back and dip back into the well. It's a good lather, great performance. Wet, but still creamy. Still feels luxurious, even though it's got a lot of water in it. Cross grain again. Now I'm going to go this direction in my trouble spot area right here. See if I can pick up some of those hard to get hairs in that little recessed area right there. Not very vocal. It's because it holds the blade so securely. The skin feels great. Nice, nice. Oh, and the smell on this one's so good. Just an understated cologne type scent. So each brush is going to have their own behavior toward a soap. If it's a scrubby brush like this one, then 20 seconds might be equivalent to a 30-second load on a softer brush. But we're looking good here. An extra lather, an extra pass of lather is what we're dealing with. And so I think 20 seconds is about right for this one. You could go less if you wanted to add a little bit extra value, but I like to have a little bit of margin here. So I am happy with the brush here. Great to try it. Just just after a quick rinse. We kind of have rinsed off the outside. You can see how it is a 3-band knot. We have a pretty thick light color here. If it was 2-band, this part would look the same here, but this darkness would go all the way kind of down to where the handle starts. And one nice thing about these, I would imagine about these scrubby knots, is that they are going to be able to hold their shape and feel over time. Whereas some of the treated knots, I guarantee you these tips aren't treated. Some of the treated knots are going to, die because of the treatment has aged them prematurely. So that's one benefit to this guy. So yeah, if you want some scrubby, now here is a silver tip that's definitely not scrubby. Comfort is the name of this guy's game. He is the Golden Nib, I believe. Golden Nib Silver Tip Premium. I really like this knot. And he is going to be a lot more comfortable. And some people might use this type of brush, a scrubby one, to attack and to load up hard soaps. But I've had zero problem loading hard soaps with soft brushes. Ever. It's always not a problem. Now this one may do it a little quicker, maybe 20 seconds quicker, but to me that doesn't matter too much. So yeah, this the handle does get a little slippery, but it's workable. It's a small handle, but again, this is actually a good design. This little double ridge. If it was a single ridge, it would kind of bother my fingers, I think. But since it's a double ridge, it feels like a one thicker ridge, and so you get pretty good grip. Good enough. And so I'm really pleased to check this guy out, use him some more before I send him back, and wonderful to check him out. And he's a loner, so I'm going to take really good care of him. Stropped him on the brush a little bit, so this is kind of how he looks in his natural state after being used. He was shipped to me all wound up in a nice wax paper or tissue paper or whatever, but after use, just to show you, he's definitely more opened up, something like that. And so if I was using this guy for the rest of my life and all my other ones went away, I might miss him a little bit, but I wouldn't have a problem using this guy and having enjoyable shaves. Duke 3. All right. Put another dot on that blade, which turns out to be a terrific match with this particular razor and my face. So that is nice. The black, and I'll show you what that blade looks like. And this is one I'm going to marathon. I put an X on it. Gillette 7 o'clock Super Platinum. And I like to take my parts over here on the washcloth and I'll dry them off and clean them if they have any of that residue from the blade. All right, let's look down and see what kind of post shave. Well, it's the wee hours of the morning and I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. So I don't need anything flashy. I don't need anything I'm going to miss. So I want to go to the old inexpensive standby of Nivea Original. A Balm, and this one does have a little bit of alcohol in it, so it might let me know of any rough spots I had, but it's pretty mild. It's not if you have really dry skin, you'll want to find a better balm than this one, but for me, I have oily skin, so this one works just fine. And I like the scent. It's kind of a generic, nice, manly scent. It's a little bit of spicy warmth to it. How much water did we use? Just the 2 teaspoons was all that was needed. And I feel like that was perfect for this particular load. 20 seconds, 2 teaspoons. So there we go. All that's left is the cleanup. And let me show you the post shave a little better. I don't think I showed it to you other than talking about it. I don't know that I don't think I've seen the original as much anymore in the stores that are near me. I think it's like Maximum Hydration or something like that. Maybe it's just a renaming. But anyway, it was my first one. And the sensitive skin version of this is the original. The sensitive skin version, I got about 119, 120 uses out of it. So that might give you an idea about how long those things last. All right, excellent shave all the way around. Hope there was something in here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. It's late. I want to get to bed. Take care.